All right, welcome to my review for 1933, The Invisible Man. Right there. So, again, this is the out of the 4K set. And again, let me just remind everyone that I freaking hate that you have to pull the discs out of here like that. I feel like they're going to get all scratched and fingerprinted up. Anyway, so The Invisible Man on 4K. Here we go. First of all, look at this shot. This is one of my favorites. This isn't my very favorite. It's up there, though. Look at this thing. So this shot is only 7 minutes and 41 seconds into the movie. Oh, get back here. And what I liked about it was that it's only like 1 second long. Did you see that? So you only see it for like 1 second, and it's the first instance of him taking off his covering, and it just shows it as quick as that. So you saw how quick it was. So I just thought it was cool how they're just like, this guy has no bottom of his face, and it's just 1 second and it moves on. And you're like, oh my gosh, and then the movie just keeps going. So where are we? So this is the October 4th movie review, because we're doing one Universal monster movie every day in October. And if you're wondering what the 31st movie is, it's the Spanish Dracula. So as far as the 4K goes, it looks incredible. The image is totally stable, and the blacks are perfect looking. It just looks like I'm looking through a window into the movie. The contrast is getting a little blown out with how my camera's picking it up, but it looks amazing. And the sound is really clean. There's like a little bit of like a quiet hiss to it. But that's normal for a movie this old, 1933. Yeah, the image is clear, clean, and there's like the image is stable, and there's like a slight grain to it, but it doesn't interfere with it at all. I've never seen this movie before, so this was my first time watching it. Also, I've never read the book by H.G. Wells. I have read Time Machine, and I love that book, so I'm really, really excited to read this book after watching this movie. All right, so like I said, first time watching it, one thing I noticed is the Invisible Man's voice was really, really cool. And that's kind of all he has to act with, other than when he's wearing clothes, because he's invisible. So when he takes off his clothes, you can't see him. Kind of like a mystery man. But his voice reminded me of the original Boba Fett voice. I think his voice sounds awesome. This behind me, this is at 1446. This is actually my favorite shot in the movie. I don't know if it does it justice. It totally doesn't do it justice. It doesn't look right on there, but I love the angle kind of up above the stairs and looking down onto this guy that just got totally wrecked, and then a bunch of guys come pouring in. Also looks pretty awesome right there. So I just think that's such a good looking shot. So that might be my favorite, other than the 1 second shot at the beginning. There's the girl named Flora, which is like his girlfriend. She's so dramatic. Let me see if I can show a part. Okay, here it goes. It's maybe not as good in context, but she's feeling real bummed out that her Invisible Man guy disappeared. She doesn't know he's literally disappeared, but she's bummed out that he's not there, and they're worried about his well-being. But she just like goes all dramatic and like face plants into the chair. I think that's funny. Let's see. Oh, the lady that runs like the little inn, she screams a lot. It's very screechy, and so it actually got kind of hard to watch / listen to with all of her screaming. It was like so much screaming. Yeah, a lot of screaming on that lady. The special effects in this movie were so good. Like there was like a train crash, a car crash, like an explosion. There's footprints in the snow with no like invisible footprint guy. Like just earlier when I showed you how he took off the bottom and there's nothing there. Like the special effects in this movie are good, and they totally hold up. And the cool thing is even when they hold up in the 4K resolution, they're great. They're like better than movies nowadays, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Maybe we should go back to however they did this. I just wanted to emphasize again that I love the Invisible Man's voice. It's so cool. It really reminds me of the original Boba Fett voice. And if you don't know what the original Boba Fett voice sounds like, it sounds like the Twix "two for me, none for you" voice. Look it up. It sounds like Boba Fett. Oh yeah, when he's in his robe and there's like all the different patterns on there, it was like super clear and clean. And I feel like lower resolutions that would get all like blurry, but it just looked really good in here. I want to show some of the detail on his face just to show the crazy resolution that's available here. So I'm gonna pause it. All right, right here. Look at this. Look at all this detail. I don't know if it's gonna show up by doing it like this, but look at that. Look at all that detail. Looks so good. Just all the detail in his like wrappings and on his robe and on his shoulder, on the glasses. Just looks is pretty incredible of a restoration from a 1933 movie. It's flickering. It's weird. Okay, where else? Oh, there were, like, as far as transitions go, I mentioned in the other movie that their transitions were like really kind of awkward, actually, where they would cut early. But in this one, there was like really clean transitions, like with the music and with the picture. Like the wipe that George Lucas uses all the time that just goes across the screen like that. There was a ton of those in this movie. So I wonder if this is one of the movies that he was inspired by. So that was cool. And then, here's a quote from Flora's dad to her. I like to have a direct quote in each one of these reviews as well. Are you ready? This is the dad talking to his daughter. He says, "Oh, leave me alone." He says, "Oh, leave me alone, Flora, please." I was just like, it's just, they just treat ladies differently in these movies. You just like buzz off adult daughter. Okay, so one of the cool things so he's like a good guy, but then once he gets all invisible, the chemicals get into him and he starts to go bad. And on one part, he goes on a rant of like all the stuff he wants to do and like the power that he can gain for being invisible. And his choices were interesting. He said gold, that he could take gold, and then also he could take the secrets of nations by being invisible. And then he said he could go into the Holy of Holies, which I thought was really interesting. That's like a biblical reference to Moses' tabernacle, where only the priest could go. So interesting that he would want to do that with his invisible power, to go in there unauthorized. So I thought it was interesting. And then in the same like breath as him saying all this bad stuff he would do while he's invisible, he's also like, "Look at the moon. Even the moon's frightened of me." And it's just like, yeah, you're kind of crazy, guy. Also, something about this movie that was different than the other ones so far, the other monstery ones, is this is more like a sci-fi because it's like chemicals that turns him invisible. And he seems maybe to gain strength because he's like spinning a police officer around by his feet at one point. So maybe he gets super strength, but it's not like a fantasy anymore. It's more like a sci-fi horror, this one. So it was a little different than the first ones. Here's another direct quote from the movie. So this is from The Invisible Man. So he says, talking about his little buddy that he's trying to recruit to help him with his evil plotting. He's like, I told him my secret, and he gave me his word of honor. And it's like, he said that, and I'm like, no, I don't think he did give you his word of honor. I think the whole time the dude was like hesitant for helping him, and then the guy like calls the cops on him, and he's like, he gave me his word of honor. It's like, I don't think he ever like swore to be your buddy in crime or whatever. I just thought that was interesting. Maybe just another sign that he's going mad. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I swear the guy did not like swear his word of honor to him. Maybe he did. Okay, there's a part. I gotta show you this. Tell me if you know what Dr. Seuss book this reminds you of. Okay, bonus points if you know what Dr. Seuss book this next part is about. So he's got the pants. He's got the pants of this police officer that he just took, and then chases this lady up the street here, wearing only the police officer pants. Also, these special effects are amazing. Like, look at this. Do you know what Dr. Seuss book that reminds you of? Pale green pants with nobody inside them. Anyway, I got really excited when I saw that part just because I love that Dr. Seuss book and I really like to read it to my kids very dramatically. So, anyway, some police pants on that guy. I hope this doesn't get copyright attacked by YouTube because of these clips, but it should fall under fair use. Okay. Another thing I liked as more and more people found out that there's like an invisible man on the loose, I liked how it was making like everybody super paranoid and it was like making people crazy that they were afraid that he was going to get them. I really liked that. I thought it was cool, the power he had over them. Okay, yeah, this movie had like tons of action. It was like a nonstop like manhunt basically. There's a train crash, a car crash, like train crash into a river, a car crash with like flames. There was people getting shoved off a cliff, like a pretty far cliff, so that was like a stunt work. And then some other minor like tumblings, but there was like a lot of action and stunts and stuff in this movie. I was pretty impressed. Let's see. Oh, so he wants to be left alone after eating because his food would still be visible while it's getting digested. I just thought it was really funny, and I really wanted to see that. But I'm glad that they mentioned that that's like what happens after he eats. So he wants to be left alone for 1 hour after eating. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the end a little bit, but then there's more notes after that, so it's going to go back. But the ending has like, it's like this sad violin music, and it's like building and building, and as he starts reappearing, like you see his skull first, and then flesh, and then he comes out, and that was really cool looking, by the way. But the ending, he's like, oh, I delved in stuff I shouldn't have, and the music's building, and the girl's sad, and he's getting what comes to him, which happens to every single monster in all these movies. But then it ended after like it was building and this thing, and he's like, oh, I'm bad, and I did this thing, and then it ends, and I'm like, oh, thank you. That was like an actual resolution, an actual ending, where all the other monster movies have just been like, and cut, like it's over. So this one had the least abrupt ending so far. So that is neat. I watched the fluffy Universal feature on the disc called Unforgettable Characters, and it was super forgettable. Then there's also a documentary on here called Invisible Man Revealed, which has an insane amount of information. And then, I was just going to say that this movie is fun. Tons of it was a manhunt. I already mentioned that. This movie had a lot more music incorporated into it than the other ones so far did. And I will say that this movie was more well made than Dracula, Frankenstein, and The Mummy. It was cleaner. The transitions were clean. There was more special effects. There was more detail. It just seemed like only 2 years from Dracula, but it seemed like they'd improved as a studio when they made this one. So it was very, very watchable. Whereas those other ones, like they're good and they're classics, but they're a little rough with like how old they are and how they look. But this one looked very good all the way through. Okay. Okay. This is hard. So this is the part where I try to rank them based on where I'm at so far. So I still think Dracula is the best out of them. Then maybe this movie as far as like watchable, and then like The Mummy and Frankenstein. So we'll see. It's a hard one. They're pretty neck and neck. Just another note that it looked really, really good on 4K. So one thing about all these monster movies is I know there's sequels to these things, and a lot of them are like the return of this person, or son of this person, or bride of this person. So as each of these monsters or whoever are meeting their inevitable demises, I'm sitting there like looking at it like in the way that they go, like where Frankenstein gets like a log on him, and you know what happens to this guy. And I'm like sitting there like, okay, how are they going to get out of this? How are they going to reverse this? How are they going to like get a sequel out of this? And just because I know there's so many sequels, I'm just watching them like, all right, how are you going to get out of this? Because it looks pretty final. What else? Okay. Oh, yeah, that is it. So, Invisible Man on 4K looked so good. This is such a dumb case. I hate these slide-in cardboard ones. But it looks so good on here. I really love these on here, and I really want to get the next set. The next movie that I'm going to review is The Bride of Frankenstein. So I'm so excited because her hair is so cool. I love her hair. Hope we get to see a lot of it. It looks like it's going to be the best part. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. And did I show my favorite scene? I did. I showed it. It was the above in the stairs. So let me know what you think. If you're gonna continue on this journey with me, watching these crazy these crazy old monster movies with me, if you want to do that. But yeah, come with me on this journey. I'm just gonna take a picture right here. Ding. So thank you. Thanks for watching, and please come again. Let me know if you've seen this movie and what you think. All right, goodbye.